people that listen to Tupac. He had obviously a lot of gang messages in there, but he also had a lot of political messages in there, talking about would there ever be a black president. Obviously there was. Talking about a lot of political messages, about racism, about all this sort of justice, about speaking out against the system. But then hip-hop, as I said, took a twist. It started to talk about the gold, the diamonds, the bling bling, the girls, how big I am, you know what I mean? Yeah, that idiot 50 Cent, his most, famous thing that he ever did was getting shot 11 times. You know what I mean? That's why he builds his whole career on, because I got shot 11 times, I'm a big man. And I made it. So this is what hip-hop, and if you listen to all the music, everyone, when you see them on the tube, in the streets, music, music, music. And most of it is hip-hop, hip-hop, hip-hop. They listen to hip-hop, hip-hop, hip-hop. They listen to, you know what I mean? Like drugs, guns, diamonds. Drugs, guns, diamonds, girls, cars, Mercedes, bling, bling, this. That's the message that's getting drummed into their heads. An old-time hip-hop star, Nostradamus, he brought out an album which said hip-hop is dead. He was an old-time, he was back in the late 80s, about early 90s, making his tracks. He said hip-hop is dead. That's all he talks about nowadays. And the people started to say, what's hip-hop? And there was this person saying hip-hop is dead. Because that way, hip-hop was all about. It was about 50 Cent's album, Get Rich or Die Trying. From its political messages, you saw these people were talking about politics, talking about revolutionary politics, talking about Obama and how he's not going to change nothing. These were the founders of hip-hop. But now hip-hop is all about the chains you wear and the trainers you bop on. So, looking at how hip-hop started amongst the forgotten people in the hoods of America, the oppressed people in the hoods of America, the people that no one wants to know about, keep them in their ghettos, keep them drinking, keep them on drugs, and let them kill each other. That's what they were happy with them doing. Bringing it today to 2009 in Britain, there's similarities with the blacks of America in the 80s and the Muslims in Britain. The Muslims in Britain are the new public enemy. You can't go 1 week without seeing an article in the paper about some Muslim did this and some Muslim did that and Islam wants to do this and Islam is doing that. And watch out for these Muslims. Watch out for their religion. So much suspicion about Muslims. So much suspicion about Islam. And as I mentioned, in London, you've got about probably 20% Muslim population in London. And when there was a mayoral election between Ken Livingstone and Boris Johnson, Ken Livingstone got a bit, he was thinking there's a bit even Stevens. Near the end of his campaign, he tried to get the Muslims on side. He tried to campaign for the Muslims, say this Boris Johnson, he's pro-Israeli and he's anti-Islam. And what happened? All the votes went to Boris Johnson. See, if that's what Boris Johnson's about, we're going to go vote for him, the general public, because he's anti these Muslims and anti this Islam. And he won the election. Because the general public is, because of the media of their stuff and what they see on TV, what they're getting told the government is against Islam, is against Muslims. When you go for an interview at work, I've had it with me one time. I remember I went for an interview for a job, and in the interview they started, they were asking, it was a clothes shop, asking me a shop, and all of a sudden they start asking me, oh, are you religious? I think I said the same time, I need a place to pray. Oh, right, yeah. Because what would you do if there was a Muslim girl, working in our store and she wasn't covered up and all this sort of stuff, and they were asking, the interview was going all right until then. I said, I was just saying, there's all right, yeah, interesting. They started asking me the other questions. I never got a job. If this Muslim is going to come and cause problems in our workplace, he's going to come and preach his fundamentalist religion. We don't need none of that. Whenever you go, and put your, what do you call it? You start to speak about Islam. I remember when there was this gym I used to go to, and he started to speak about Islam. The first thing they think, is this man a terrorist? Isn't it? Is this man a terrorist? Speaking about Islam. I've never, you know what I mean? How come he's talking about it? He should be ashamed of it. Should be ashamed of being a Muslim. You know what I mean? These people are killing all the people all over the world. You know, we've got so many problems because of these people. And this is the general vibe you get, isn't it? Before, I used to go sometimes on the tube and read the Quran. I don't do that no more, my friends. You go on the tube and read the Quran, you know what I mean? You don't know what's going to come and jump on you on the back. You know what I mean? And find bullets in your head. That is the truth, isn't it? I might be saying it's a joke, but that's the truth. You know, there was this, you know, after the unfortunate bombings of the 7/7, there was this image going around that this is the kind of bag you should wear. A see-through bag with a picture of Osama bin Laden on it, with a, you know, a cross sign, no, I'm not a terrorist, and a see-through bag so they can see everything in your bag. And Muslims, that then, you know, every Muslim, any time you see a Muslim on the train, you know what I mean, people get scared. He's got a beard. Oh no, you know what I mean? They start to get scared. I go to the mosque. And this is the suspicion they got. Every mosque, this is truly suspicion that they have, that every mosque has terrorist training camps, has secret, you know what I mean, secret underground, you know what I mean, tunnels, and they've got all this stuff going on, and they're going to, one day going to come out, you know what I mean, like Day of the Triffids, and take over the whole country. You know, there's this fear. And this is the way the Muslims are living. And the sisters have the problem as well if they wear the hijab. You know what I mean? They think there's some poor oppressed girl that, you know, she's been forced to wear the hijab by her husband back home, that she'd never seen, and she was married to when she was 3 years old, you know what I mean? And he's forced her to wear that scarf. They feel this poor lady, this poor girl. This is, you know, I'm saying it as a joke, but this is, you know, the truth that people think about Islam. So going back to the blacks in America, just like they started to speak out, they say, no, we're not having this anymore. We don't want to be second-class citizens. We don't want to be, be suspicious wherever we go. Because the blacks they had back in there, and wherever they went, oh, you're this gangster. Imagine a rob us. You know what I mean? Black walks into a shop, all of a sudden CCTV cameras like that on the black man going up and down. This is how it was. And the Muslims now is the same. Muslims are living under that same suspicion. So instead of some of the blacks back in those days, you know, you had that, they wanted to be white. They straightened their hair, you know what I mean? You have the famous case of that famous black American pop star whitening his skin, you know what I mean? You had some blacks, you know, they didn't want to speak like a black person, they want to speak like a white person. To get accepted. To get accepted. And the Muslims are, we find, trying to do the same. They don't want to be known that they're Muslim. They want to keep it under the cover. They don't want to talk about Islam. It's a state of fear that the Muslims are under. A state of fear. But some of those black youths, they started to speak out against all this oppression, racism, suspicion. In our mosque, we've got spies. I'll tell you, probably in every mosque, you've got a spy. I don't point out, but one brother in the audience, he's told me that he was just looking for a job, and he got, you know, offered the job by the MI5. They wanted to offer him the job, you know, to spy in his community. I know another brother. He was coming back from playing. He said, I live around Finsbury Park. MI5 said, do you want a job? And these two people declined, but there's bare people that accepted and are spies in the community. Every mosque, you know what I mean, has got spies. So Muslims now need to speak out. If you just, you know, carry on the way we're going, trying to hide, trying to run, trying to, you know, get rid of the identity of Islam, you will keep on running and keep on hiding. You know when you're at school, and obviously you get some muggers, and who are the ones that always mug? The ones that always give them the money. The one that say, give me 20p. Hey, safe, let me 20p. That person is always lending this person 20p. Every day is lending person 20p. But if that person says, no, I ain't giving you 20p, go get off someone else, that mugger don't come back. And you always get those ones that are bullied. You know what I mean? Walking down the corridor, gets smacked, gets punched, he kicks, walks that, you know, stands up and carries on walking. Gets tripped up, falls over. You know the score. Don't tell me none of you was those people as well. You just get tripped up and punched in the back and get in your face. You know that you were some of those, you see some of those people.